Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yashoda Nandana Raja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki Jai Ganga Maya ki Jai Yamuna Maya ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki Jai Tulsi Devi ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Transcendental Diaries, Chapter 9, entitled Sri Dham Mayapur, beginning from January 23rd, 1976. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srila Prabhupada took his walk across the fields to the proposed temple site. He discussed with Jayapataka Swami the possibility of convincing the government to give us the land we need for building the temple. In pursuance of this idea, he later dictated a letter for Jayapataka Swami to hand deliver to his New Delhi airport acquaintance, Mr. Chowdhury, who works at the Department of Development and Planning in Calcutta. Prabhupada viewed that meeting as Krishna's arrangement. He wants that the government acquire the land for us, and fortuitously, this man works in the department that decides such matters. After briefly describing to Mr. Chowdhury the Mayapur project and his hopes of building an international city based on the Vedic culture, he requested him to visit Mayapur for further discussions. Every day, Srila Prabhupada gives an abundance of practical guidance, ranging from advice on purchasing land, setting a daily monetary rate for the painting of the front wall, advising on what goods to sell from the rooms near the front gate, to deciding the conditions of employment for the building construction workers. Jayapataka Maharaj has employed a huge number of men for the new building work. But today, Prabhupada told him that if he can't get it finished by the festival, which is in 6 weeks, then he should reduce the number of men to only 50. Jayapataka Maharaj said he thought everything but the plumbing could be done. Srila Prabhupada said the plumbing and electricity are not important as long as the place is habitable. He told Jayapataka to get a guarantee from the contractor that the basic construction would definitely be finished on time. As he walked, he turned his attention to the situation in Nellore. He confirmed to Gopal Krishna Prabhu that the foundation stone should be taken to Madras, which, he said, was a better place for a temple anyway. He also cautioned him that if we accept charity from such fallen women, then we will have to share in their sinful activity. So, In the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, there is a pastime where Sri Advaita Acharya's secretary, I think his name was Kamalakanta, was Sri Advaita Acharya had a debt of 300 rupees, and Kamalakanta sent a letter to Maharaj Prataparudra asking him to absolve him of this debt, right? And somehow or the other, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got hold of this letter, and he was very upset. So in that pastime, Prabhupada gives direction, or gives us knowledge about accepting charity or donations, right? So this is the Adi Leela 12th chapter, text number 50. In the purport, Prabhupada says that it is very risky business to accept money or food from ritualistic persons, because the acceptance of this donation from these people pollutes the mind of the person receiving the charity. And according to the Vedic system, one should give charity to sannyasis and brahmanas, because one who does gives charity becomes free from sinful activities. So formally, brahmanas would not accept charity from a person who was not very pious, you could say, right? And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave the instruction for all spiritual masters. He says, materialistic persons who are not inclined to give up their sinful activities like illicit sex, intoxication, gambling and meat eating, sometimes Srila Prabhupada is saying that. He says sometimes they want to become our disciples, but unlike professional spiritual masters who accept disciples regardless of their condition, Vaishnavas do not accept such cheap disciples. Right? One must at least agree to abide by the rules and regulations for a disciple before a Vaishnava Acharya can accept him. In fact, a Vaishnava should not even accept charity or food from persons who do not follow the rules and regulations of the Vaishnava principles. So, very interesting when I came across this. I thought it was very interesting because we want to use donations and charity given to us for the propagation of Krishna consciousness, right? But here, Prabhupada is saying that we shouldn't accept money or foodstuffs from materialistic persons. And also that even the acharyas won't accept a disciple who is not following the four regulative principles. So I thought to myself that, yes, this is very good, that a person who wants to take spiritual shelter must come to the point of at least being a human being first before he can take spiritual shelter. Because yes, there are so many other movements where so-called gurus are accepting disciples but have not even seen the disciple. They don't know what the disciple or the person is doing, what their names are, what their situation is, you know. I've seen this because I know some people who belong to other movements and have taken initiation, and I'll ask them, like, have they, what rules do they follow? And there are no rules, you know. So it's like something, you're just accepting disciples to have a following, really. And then in the next text of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the text goes, Lord Chaitanya says, when one's mind is polluted, it is very difficult to remember Krishna. And when remembrance of Lord Krishna is hampered, one's life is unproductive. In the purport, Prabhupada says that a devotee should always be alert, keeping his mind in a sanguine state. Sanguine meaning in a positive state of mind. In a sanguine state, so that he can always remember Lord Sri Krishna. The Shastras state, Smartavya Satatam Vishnu. In devotional life, one should always remember Lord Vishnu. Srila Shukadev Goswami also advised Maharaj Parikshit, Smartavyo Nityashaha. In the second canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadev Goswami advised Maharaj Parikshit, O descendant of King Bharat, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear, glorify, and also remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Super Soul, the controller and the savior from all miseries. So this is a summary of all activities of a Vaishnava. And the same instruction is repeated here in that verse I just quoted now from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Rupa Goswami says that a Vaishnava must be very alert not to waste even a second of his valuable lifetime. This is the symptom of a Vaishnava. But association with pounds and shillings men or Vishayis, materialists, who are simply interested in sense gratification, pollutes one's mind and hampers such continuous remembrance of Lord Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore advised, Asat Sangatyaga e Vaishnava Achar. A Vaishnava should behave in such a way as to never associate with non-devotees or materialists. One can avoid such association simply by always remembering Krishna within his heart. So, very strong words. We should never associate with non-devotees. Right? But we are a preaching movement, right? And when we preaching, we have to associate with non-devotees. But then Prabhupada says that we can avoid, although we are preaching to them, so we're giving them our association. We don't want to take their association, right? And how we don't take their association, Prabhupada is saying, one can avoid such association simply by always remembering Krishna within his heart. Like that. We were discussing not long ago about why we cause offenses when we chant, right? Why we don't surrender to the holy name. And Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu made a very important point. He said that it all boils down to associating with non-devotees, because we start to develop their mentality. Right? So, and Prabhupada is saying the same thing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying the same thing. When one's mind is polluted, it is very difficult to remember Krishna. And when remembrance of Krishna is hampered, one's life is unproductive. So, our minds become polluted when we associate with non-devotees. And another thing that comes to my mind right now is even watching TV is associating with non-devotees, because it's nothing spiritual, right? And society nowadays just gets all the ideas from TV, from television, and in television, everything is about sex, intoxication, gambling. You know? All the things that we at Vaishnavas are against. Yeah. Okay, so continuing to read. But our Krishna can eat even fire, he added. Srila Prabhupada is saying. Our Krishna can eat even fire. If there is forest fire, Krishna can eat. Unless he is able to eat others' sinful reactions, how can he say, Aham tvam sarve papebhyo mokshayishyami? He is capable. Otherwise, how he can say like that? So yes, we're not supposed to, Prabhupada is saying we don't associate with non-devotees. But at one time we were also non-devotees, right? Unless we were born in the movement or something. But I think many of us here were non-devotees. And through the association of a devotee, we have become devotees, or trying to become devotees at least. And what Krishna has done, he swallowed the fire of the sinful actions that we have accumulated for so many lifetimes. Because sinful actions is, yes, it's like a blazing fire. It's burning us. Our sinful actions are burning us. You know? Hare Krishna Mataji. When we put our hand into fire, we get burnt. It's a horrible feeling. And therefore our sinful actions are causing this cycle of birth and death, and we're getting burnt in this material world. But Krishna, he can swallow this fire. Right? So yeah, we got to keep on preaching, give the people out there our associations, our association, and yes, not take their association. So the rest of the day, Prabhupada spent quietly in his room. He isn't lecturing in the mornings here, although he enjoys discussing a wide range of topics with his disciples and a few visitors in his room. At lunch, Prabhupada requested that I learn how to cook from Harikesh. January 24th, 1976. Each morning at Guru Puja, Prabhupada is personally giving out sweets to all the children. He sits on the Vyasasan as each child comes forward to receive his prasadam. So, Prabhupada always had nice pastimes with children. You know, we see the videos and the pictures of Prabhupada handing out prasadam, sweets to the children, and how happy they are in Prabhupada's presence. And he gave some very nice instructions about children. Lots of letters he wrote to disciples, speaking about the children in the movement. And I just want to read a couple. So in a letter dated July 30th, 1972, Prabhupada is saying that these children are given to us by Krishna. They are Vaishnavas and we must be very careful to protect them. These are not ordinary children. They are Vaikuntha children, and we are very fortunate we can give them chance to advance further in Krishna consciousness. That is very great responsibility. Do not neglect it or be confused. Your duty is very clear. And in another letter, December 10th, 1972, Prabhupada writes, regarding your question, should force be used on children? No. There shall be no forcing the children to do anything. Child should not be forced. This is all nonsense. Who has devised these things? If we want them to become great devotees, then we must educate the children with love, not in a negative way. So we see that Prabhupada wanted us to take care of the children in the movement. Because he says they are coming from Vaikuntha. They are Vaikuntha children. Right? They are not ordinary children. And we are very fortunate we can give them a chance to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, yes, we should show lots of love to the children in the movement. Make them feel happy, you know. In Kirtan, make them dance, make them clap, sing. I'll continue reading and then I'll comment. There is a small 2-year-old boy from Australia called Damodar who persistently remains right in front of the Vyasasan each morning with his pudgy hand held out. Srila Prabhupada gives him half a sweet, which Damodar pushes into his mouth. Then he moves his hand over the back of his head, wipes his open palm on his shika, and again holds it out. Again, Prabhupada gives him another piece of sweet, and again Damodar repeats the ritual. There are no words exchanged. Simply the boy's chubby palm goes out for the sweet, up to his mouth, over his head, and back again for more. This exchange with Damodar has gone on for several mornings now, and Srila Prabhupada laughs to see him wipe his hand in such a fashion. Who has taught him this, he asks. While this is going on, the other children leap and dance and chant. Adoration for Prabhupada and excitement to to be in his presence shine in their eyes. It is obvious the young children are spontaneously attracted to Srila Prabhupada because they instinctively understand that he is their best friend. So when I read this, it was very, very heart-touching, because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, his friendship is never contaminated with like these selfish motives that stain the material relationships. And in the material world, everyone is ultimately concerned with their own interest. And even our friendships are part of our plan for our own enjoyment. If we really think about it. But Srila Prabhupada, he is always anxious for our ultimate well-being. And therefore, when these children they were kids, little children. But they understood that Srila Prabhupada is their best friend. And he is the best friend of the entire world. Because why? He's coming from the spiritual world. Krishna is everybody's best friend, and therefore Srila Prabhupada is everybody's best friend. Why? Because it's explained, we know this, that when we love God, then automatically we love everyone else, every living entity. Right? As he does each morning, at the end of the program, Prabhupada circumambulated the deities, accompanied by all the devotees and a Sankirtan party. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai. He stopped to vigorously ring the bells hanging from the ceiling on either side of the small temple room, causing everyone to loudly chant and jump in ecstasy. So, Pariyar Pavan was telling me that when he was in Mayapur, that he was thinking about this pastime when Prabhupada rings the bell. And he was running parikram, right? He wasn't walking. And then he saw the rope and jumped and started ringing the bell. Yeah, and we watch videos of Prabhupada doing this, and it's, I always wish I was there with Prabhupada in his presence. Yeah, because Prabhupada is amazing, man. There's no words that can describe Prabhupada. Yeah. So mail continues to flow in steadily from around the world. One letter came from Pushta Krishna Swami in South Africa about the Mercedes car that he had promised to purchase for Prabhupada. He said that although he intends to pay for it himself, for now he has taken the money from Srila Prabhupada's book fund to finance the purchase. He intends to repay it later. Hearing this, Prabhupada shook his head. Smiling, he told us the story of the disciple who invited his guru to his home and gave him a grand reception with nice decorations, elaborate prasadam and all. The guru was delighted and amazed at such expenditure. Oh, it is all coming from you? Oh, okay. The guru was delighted and amazed at such expenditure. So the disciple says, oh, it is all coming from you, O spiritual master. It is all your mercy. The guru was pleased at this until he returned home to discover that it really was coming from him. When he looked at his bank book, his balance was now 0. So, the guru paid for his own reception. You want to say something about it? Yeah. So, yeah, don't do this, right? I'm sure we don't have a guru's bank card. But if we do, don't use that to give him nice reception and elaborate prasad and things. Yeah, we should receive the guru as best as we can to our capabilities. Yeah. we always want to do the best for the spiritual master or for the Vaishnavas. But we shouldn't do things that we're not supposed to do. Don't put ourselves in debt even. Because if we do something like this, then it'll affect us mentally and affect also our spirituality, our spiritual life. So the Vaishnavas know, the spiritual master knows our heart. And he wants to see the love, not elaborate things. Although that's nice also, for preaching purposes. So January 25th, 1976, Prabhupada decided to take his walk on the roof of the temple building. On the way up, he inspected the top floor where all the brahmacharis stay. He did not like what he saw. Everything was dirty and poorly maintained. Walking around the end of the veranda, he saw thick wires strung to the wall as a crude washing line, gorging grooves in the plaster. He was very displeased. He soon got everyone into action, cleaning and rearranging everything. He ordered the brahmacharis to move immediately to the front wall dwellings, saying that the rooms in the temple building were to be used only for guests. He commented that brahmacharis means it will be dirty. So, yeah, there's all types of brahmacharis, and devotees are coming from all different walks of life. So we becoming trained to become brahmanas, to become clean, right? And I stayed in the temple whenever I got a chance, I lived with the brahmacharis, and some are very clean, Radhika Jivan Prabhu is a very clean person, and some are not clean, right? So, but what to do? It's a process, Jayapataka Swami has decorated the rooftop area with potted tulsi plants and various flowers and shrubs. There are 2 rooms on either side of this central stairwell, where he and Bhavananda Maharaj stay. The flat roof offers ample space for walking, in addition to a panoramic view. From it one can observe not only our whole compound, but miles of open country. As we walked around, Anantarama Shastri joined us. Srila Prabhupada expressed his satisfaction that such an educated man has joined our movement, and he instructed Bhavananda Maharaj to make sure he is well looked after so that he may not go away. Although a somewhat self-conscious individual, Shastriji was eager to recite a poem he had composed for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure. As he walked and without asking first, he broke out into melodious verse, singing the praises of Bhagavan Sri Gopal, or at least it seemed so. His chanting was impressive to my untrained ear, but Srila Prabhupada was alert. When Shastri sang Nachiya Nachiya Aile Gopal, my dear Gopal, please come to me dancing, Prabhupada stopped him. Don't manufacture knowledge. Take knowledge from Bhagavan. Don't order Bhagavan. Just follow Bhagavan. That is not wanted. Do not write concocted poetries. That is not beneficial. Simply follow. So Prabhupada told him that his singing was sense gratification because he was giving instruction to Gopal. Please come to me, Nachya, dancing. He stressed that our process is to take instruction. It is all nonsense. Why should you ask Gopal to come to you? You cannot order, you must follow. We are to carry out the order of God, not to order God to carry out my order. That is a mistake. Prabhupada went on for some time condemning the attitude with which people generally approach God. He explained that in India they sing a traditional arti song which repeats the words Sabko Sampati De Bhagavan. De Bhagavan means give me. And in the West, he explained, the Christians also have the same idea. The whole world, Prabhupada observed, they have accepted God as order supplier. I order you, you supply. the Christian church also God give us our daily bread. And if God doesn't give, then God is dead, Tamal Krishna Maharaj added. Dead, this is going on. And our prayer is, I don't want anything. Simply engage me in your service. This is the real prayer which is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, so before coming into contact with this Krishna consciousness, myself personally, I didn't know what to pray to God for, to be honest. Basically, I didn't know who God was. Right? I was asking my parents and asking Pandits or so-called, but they couldn't give an answer, And the most of the world is like this, that we pray to God, like it's saying here, we pray to God asking Him for something. Like Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj says, give me big car, colored TV, and a house by the sea. Om Jagat Jai Jagadish Hare. So we're all asking God for things. But Prabhupada, he has taught us how to pray to God. He has taught us who God is, what the position of God is. Therefore, he has established Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Right? So we understand Krishna's position, and then we understand how to pray to Krishna. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktera dokshaja. So the first class religion is that by which one becomes a lover of God. Prabhupada has taught us we have to start loving God. And no other process is teaching this. No other process is giving this information. You have to become a lover of God or re-establish that loving relationship with God. And only when we read Prabhupada's books or come into contact with a devotee who explains this, do we understand that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Right? I'm sure many of us can relate to what I'm saying. That before we were praying to God, asking Him for things. But as we become more advanced, then we start saying, oh Krishna, what can I do for you? Right? So Prabhupada has taught us how to love God. Jayapataka Swami returned later in the day from Calcutta with a favorable report. Mr. Chowdhury and his family will come to visit Prabhupada on Sunday, February 1st. The man was very happy to see Jayapataka Maharaj and enthusiastic to help. Harikesh is becoming increasingly ill. He looks weak and emaciated and has no strength. It is all he can do, just cook Srila Prabhupada's lunch. Prabhupada observed him going to the toilet just after eating breakfast. He shook his head and quoted a Bengali proverb. He who cannot sleep immediately upon resting, and he who passes stool immediately after eating, will very soon be called by Yamraj. On the other hand, he who passes stool before eating and urine after, the physician cannot make a living from. So very interesting that these signs, these signs that is giving us indication of whether the person is going to leave soon or not, right? If you cannot sleep immediately upon resting, and he who passes stool immediately after eating will very soon be called by Yamraj. Do anybody knows more about this Bengali proverb? I don't know much. I tried to research it, but I couldn't find anything. In the evening, I came into Prabhupada's room just in time to catch the tail end of an hour-long conversation between Harikesh and Srila Prabhupada. Harikesh was posing questions about the descriptions of Vedic cosmology in the newly published 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Many confusing diagrams and captions have been included by the editors, And Prabhupada said it will have to be revised because they have made mistakes. Harikesh was trying to clarify his own understanding of the position of the sun and moon, the general structure of the universe, and the exact length of one yoja. I listened intently as Prabhupada described how the planets move within the universal shell. He pointed to the chandelier hanging from the ceiling and compared the situation of the lights with that of the planets. He explained that all the planets move in unison around the pole star, and within that structure, the sun has its own orbit. Harikesh asked many questions until our ability to understand his explanations was stretched to the limit, and Prabhupada finally called a halt. His knowledge appears fathomless. So I'm just going to skip a couple things because I want to get to the part where... Okay, there it is. Okay, this is very nice. I sat and watched as he got up from his seat and moved toward the door, smiling all the while. He seemed to have a deep serenity, to be carrying within himself a vast, limitless wellspring of knowledge and understanding, and to possess a beautiful sobriety of the soul that attracted my mind more than ever before. I became absorbed in the natural flow of his movements, the gentility of his demeanor, and the soft expressiveness of his features. Everything within the periphery of my vision, except Srila Prabhupada, began to recede and fade as he seemed to emanate an increasingly bright effulgence, filling the whole room and beyond. It wasn't an ordinary light, nothing that could be seen like the beams from a torch or bulb. But it was there, more subtle than sunlight, expanding the shining through my mind and intelligence, pervading my consciousness, touching my soul. I became overwhelmed with appreciation for Prabhupada's purity and grace. The feeling of wanting absolutely nothing whatever in life, other than to simply serve the lotus feet without any other concern, welled up in my heart. I have never experienced a satisfaction greater than this. I felt it intensely for perhaps the first time. I experienced what I can only describe as feelings of unconditional surrender and unequivocal love, fully devoid of any material distraction or selfish interest. His very being shone and radiated, pervaded everything, and I was his eternal servant. It's hard to describe. It didn't seem that Prabhupada was doing anything more than he ever does. He is himself. But somehow, for once, my own consciousness suddenly opened and became receptive enough to perceive him more clearly than ever before. And then he disappeared through the door and down the corridor, leaving me once again wondering just who he really was. Very nice, huh? That this was Srila Prabhupada. He's a pure devotee full of purity. And a pure devotee can light up the room. We see that when certain personalities, certain devotees come into the temple room or wherever into a program, suddenly the atmosphere changes. And they can very easily bring happiness to everyone there. We've seen this. Yeah. So this is Srila Prabhupada. He's come from the spiritual world. He's no ordinary person, right? And Harisori Prabhu had that realization at that time. So we should. We end at 8:30, right? Yeah, so the Prabhupada, he has given everything. He's taught us how to love God. He has taught who God is, how we should behave. On Monday we were reading how we should eat, right? Monday evening. And everything is in Prabhupada's books. Everything. And hopefully we can take shelter of Prabhupada, and we have some realizations, just like Harisari Prabhu had. So any comments or questions? Yep. Mike? Oh, it's this side.
Thank you, Virabhadra. I was thinking about that point you were making about how we shouldn't accept money from materialistic people, but we know when we're on the Sankirtan, we accept money from all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And, well, at least I have faith, and I hope it's not misplaced, that when we're offering that back to Srila Prabhupada for the purpose of distributing his books, then the whole process is purified, that we're not contaminated by that. Is that right?
Yeah, we using their donations. Okay, obviously we're selling the book first to them. They're giving money for the book, right? And that same money, the same Lakshmi that they have given for the book, is being used to reprint books or for the service of Krishna. So in that way, it's purified. I think what Prabhupada was talking about here is using it for ourselves, for maybe personal, for our personal interest. So, yeah, therefore it says that the sadhus never accepted money from people who were impious, right? Because I think the sadhus at that time, they were accepting going begging door to door. Their going begging door to door was more for preaching God consciousness rather than getting some donation. But anyway, they were getting some donation, and even foodstuffs. So their foodstuffs was consumed by themselves. So I think in that way, if we're accepting it from materialistic persons, then it's contaminating to our minds, to our hearts. But if you're giving it to Krishna, everything given to Sri Sri Radha Radhanath, to Gaur Nitai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, then obviously that is purified. And we have to sell the books, we have to go out and accept donations. Otherwise, how to run the temple? Yeah. So don't worry, you're not affected by it. You won't get the reaction.
And on the point you were making about how we shouldn't associate with materialistic people, but we have to share our association instead of taking it. And you said that the way that we know we're sharing is if we're always keeping Krishna within our heart, so we're not taking that association, we're protected. And I also asked His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj how it is we can be sure that we're sharing association instead of accepting it. And he said, most of the time you'll be doing the talking.
Yeah.
Those link together because Prabhupada said you can't talk about something you're not thinking about. So if you're talking about Krishna, which hopefully you would be if you're preaching,
yeah, Krishna is in your mind.
You're thinking about Krishna, then he is in your heart anyway, and then you are protected.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, so we should be doing most of the talking. Yeah, that means speaking about Krishna, and the more we're speaking about Krishna, then the more we remembering Krishna also. Yeah. Anyone else want to say something? Give us some realization, Prabhu. Give us some realization.
I could comment on many points, but I don't want to do that. I could comment on many points he said, but I don't want to do that. He was talking about when somebody enters the room, the atmosphere changes. And I just wanted to hear from Paripavan. We don't hear so much from him. But on the previous 2 weeks we've been together, we were chanting in Peter Maritzburg.
Yeah.
One in the program for Kadamba Maharaj. I mean, he led an amazing kirtan, There was not many people, but just that whole atmosphere so nice and so powerful.
Yes.
And then we went back for the Gaur Purnim, was also very amazing. So I wanted to hear from him about his realization in chanting the Maha Mantra. That's what.
Yeah, I want to hear.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that I think that one Sunday we went,
Yeah.
one Sunday. And we just went in the temple room, we looked at the temple room. It was like maybe around 20 people there. People. And we wondering, where's the rest of the people? But when we just started chanting and dancing there, I actually felt like the temple room was full.
Yeah.
And the kirtan was just going from one level to the next level, the next level, the dancing and chanting. And Prabhu he was all coming over my ears and telling me, chant, keep on chanting, keep on chanting. And I noticed each time you actually came over my ears to tell me chant, keep on chanting, the kirtan was getting more and more intense.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what was going on. I was just looking around saying, what's going on? Everyone is just flying in the air.
Yeah.
And I thought that you cannot chant and dance like this for yourself. You can do it with,
it's not a
with
show.
those who actually have taste for the holy name, like yourself, Rabindranath Prabhu, and the rest of all of you. So yeah, it's not so easy to just chant and dance.
Yeah.
You can fake it, but you can't fake it for too long.
Yeah. They say fake it till you make it, but how long are you going to fake it? Right? So you have to have taste. And yeah, like I said, it's not a show. You can't put on a show. So many times devotees call us and say, call us to their programs, and tell us, come dance, come and dance. But my reply to them is that we're not entertaining. We're not coming there to entertain anyone. You know, you can't control the kirtan. The holy name is Krishna himself. Krishna is the holy name is not different from Krishna. So the holy name is controlling the kirtan. And sometimes, can I share the? Yeah. So sometimes we may be in a kirtan, and it's picking up, it's picking up, it's picking up. But suddenly you can there are many devotees that want to sing, and the kirtan leader can feel this, that others want to sing. They don't want him to sing or her to sing. You know, you can feel it. It's that envy. But why be envious of the person chanting the holy name? Right? And so, like when we spoke about when a certain personality enters a room and changes the atmosphere, also when a certain personality enters a room, they can change the atmosphere for worse. Don't make it better. They can bring the atmosphere down, the feeling down. So yeah, don't be envious of devotees. Chant and dance with them. Right? Maybe she should give us some realization, because yeah, she used to chant and dance with us in the mornings. No, say something, how this holy name has changed your life. Eh? Okay. Radhika Jivan Prabhu? Any realizations from Cape Town? Mataji? Okay, we'll stop there. Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaura Premanande.